Welcome into Outkick the Show, boys and girls. I hope all of you are having fantastic Fridays. I hope you are ready for a stellar weekend. I hope you're ready for the picks to go 12-0. Hashtag respect the picks. We've got a lot to get to. I hope all of you will be watching Lock It In here in about an hour when I finish off my 100-hour week with a sterling final hour of television on FS1. We got a lot to jump into today. I'm going to give you my analysis of Mayfield Mania. I'm going to give you once more my Friday night college football parlay, which will be kicking off in about 3.5 hours. I will be talking about why Disney CEO Bob Iger saying that the company has become too political proves what I've been saying for a long time. Coincidentally, right as my book is released. You think you know what's going on there. And I've got a special SEC parlay to make all of you rich for Saturday. But, my friends, I hope all of you will be smart and go to sportsbookreview.com. Check out all of the different gambling availability there, in particular all the different odds. Because there could be a big difference, as many of you know, between getting a half point or not getting a half point behind how everything is breaking in the universe of gambling. Sportsbookreview.com. I also want to tell you, it's rare that I ask for anything from you. I am your friendly buddy who just shows up and is happy to have your company. I'm asking you for this. Please go buy my book. I am selling my book. It is now for sale. It is shipping from Amazon. It is $17. If you want an autographed copy, you can sign up for it in the Outkick VIP. You will get a copy sent to you. You can go right in right now and also get a 9-hour unabridged audio tape of me reading the book. And I got to tell you, 9 hours of audio tape, that's me sitting in a radio studio making sure that I read every sentence perfectly. And you can get the audiobook or the real book. Audiobook's only about $20. Make sure you do that. Kindle, it's all available. Amazon, you can go check out. Type in Clay Travis on Amazon, you'll find it. Okay. Also, my guy Ryan Kelly, wherever you are across the country, if you want an Outkick VIP, you want to get a free autographed copy of the book, you sign up for a new mortgage with my guy Ryan Kelly. Guess what? Boom. You get that. You get a VIP. You get access to everything. Plus, you get an autographed copy of the book. All right. Got to tell you, Mayfield Mania is one of the coolest things that I have seen in some stretch of the imagination. Last night, I decided to take my wife to go see a movie. We had a good time out at the movie. I missed the first half of what was an awful NFL game, I am told. And as a result, I got to tell you this right now. I've got to tell you this. I was eating dinner, having a good time, and we were at the movie theater where you can dine in, right? We ate somewhere else. We're sitting there in the dine-in. Movie ends. We went to go see the movie with Blake Lively. Aside for right now. Gotta go. Is it true? Is that Blake Lively, I was thinking about this, is Blake Lively the best looking woman in America right now? Can you name a better looking woman than Blake Lively? I can't think of anybody that is better looking right now in all of the country than Blake Lively. It's rare that I come out and I'm like, hey, this person is the best looking. Blake Lively is the best looking woman in America right now. She's number one. I don't think there's a number two. I mean, I'm sure there's a number two. She's number one. So we're at the movie, and the movie ends, and they bring out our bill at the dine-in theater, and this is pretty cool. And I don't know if you're going to be able to see this, but right here it says, "Thanks, guys. Hope you enjoyed. P.S. Betting the over on FAU UCF on your advice." Going to hold this up here. This is the check that we got. Want to give a shout out. I don't know if this guy watches the Periscope and the Facebook who was working at the movie theater, but that is pretty phenomenal. So that's one of the gambling picks. But I get home in the second half, right at the end of the first half, right as Baker Mayfield is taking over for Tyrod Taylor. And I got to say this off the top here. I think you have to fire Hugh Jackson for not starting Baker Mayfield week one. The guy steps in, and he looks the exact same as he looked at Oklahoma. He's not just flinging the ball It is such a tight spiral that the ball looks like it's going into hyperspeed. The throws that he made immediately, recognizing the defense, dropping back to pass, complete command of the offense. It was as if you could see everyone else on the field suddenly come alive and recognize, finally, we've got the guy who can lead us to the promised land. And there were a couple of plays in particular that stood out to me. One was late in the game, the Browns are down 17-14. Browns are down 17-14. By the way, I was on the right side of this bet. It's typical Jets luck that they knock out the starting quarterback, and the Browns have been so bad that they have a better quarterback on the bench who comes in and starts to dominate. The Jets were up 14-0 when they knocked Tyrod Taylor out of the game. If they just hadn't given him a concussion, I think they win this game by double figures. I got to tell you, it's an unbelievable situation. So, late in the game, it's 17-14 Jets. The Browns score, okay? The Browns score to take the lead, and there is a penalty behind the play that's totally unnecessary. In vintage Browns fashion, one of their guys just wrecks unnecessarily the player for the Jets, right? It's total block in the back, completely unnecessary, right? And as a result, we see that play happen, and the Browns go all the way back to like the 23-yard line. In years past, that would have happened, and everybody would have said, oh man, stupid Browns, they're going to go on and lose. Baker Mayfield drops back to pass on the next play, throws a laser, boom, they're right back close to scoring. They score a couple of plays later. And to me, that is a personification of how good Baker Mayfield is. Unbelievable talent. And here's sometimes what I always think. Am I missing something obvious because I've convinced myself that something obvious isn't true? And I don't know how Hugh Jackson could watch Baker Mayfield and Tyrod Taylor in practice and convince himself that Tyrod Taylor was better. This reminds me of last season when Bill O'Brien watched everything in practice with Tom Savage and Deshaun Watson and decided, you know what? Tom Savage is my guy. He won this job. At some level, you have to, as a head coach, be able to decide who the best quarterback is. That's the most important decision you make. It's one thing if you don't have a quarterback at all. And we saw this, somebody just said in the comments, I happened to glance over. We saw the same thing with Tua and Jalen Hurts. I've told you this story a couple of times. In the national title game, it's overtime. Bama has just missed the field goal to avoid winning the game outright. And Georgia has kicked a field goal. Bama takes the ball. These Alabama equipment managers come running over. I'm on the field. They drop down right where I am, recognize me, turn around, apologize for missing the field goal, which caused the over to hit. And they say, how about the flying Hawaiian? They said they're at practice every day, and Tua Tagovailoa has been running circles around Jalen Hurts. But because the coach had film in games of Jalen Hurts, and because the coach had film in games of Tom Savage, and because the coach had film in games of Tyrod Taylor, they chose to go with the lesser talent, which wasn't going to be risky, potentially, as opposed to the better talent, which had a higher ceiling. And I think it's a clear example of coaches being so risk-averse that until the absolute moment when they have to choose to do it, they don't do it. And we saw it with Bill O'Brien. We saw it with Hugh, whatever his name is, the Browns coach. And also with Nick Saban, all right? I don't understand how you could make the decision to do this in any way possible that you would not know, Hugh Jackson would not know, you know what, this guy is the answer. And you're already at that point 1-31. It is indefensible in my mind that you could ever have stuck with Tyrod Taylor when you had Baker Mayfield's talent on the bench. So I just think, again, the players all knew. If you were watching this game, I feel bad for Tyrod Taylor that he got a concussion. But if he hadn't gotten a concussion, how many more games do the Browns lose because Hugh Jackson isn't able to figure out who the better player is. It just makes no sense. And at that point in time, like many of you are saying, you're 1-32-1. What are you protecting? Baker Mayfield, and this is the other thing I would say. If you watched college football, you knew Baker Mayfield was really good and capable of making every throw. If you watched college football, you knew Deshaun Watson was really good and capable of making every throw. I don't know what it is about the NFL, but it's as if they don't give any credence at all to the fact that college football exists. Because every year when the combine comes around, they're like, oh, this guy who won the Heisman Trophy, this guy who won the national championship, he's pretty good at playing quarterback. Yeah, do you think so? Do you think that might be the case? I'm telling you right now, beyond a shadow of a doubt, Baker Mayfield has incredible star potential. And as a result, I'm actually excited to watch the Cleveland Browns. And if you wondered about the difference between awful play and great play at the quarterback position, it takes a game that was unwatchable in the first half with Tyrod Taylor and made it exhilarating with Baker Mayfield in the second half. And the long-range future of the NFL is tied to how many good quarterbacks there can be to make the NFL game as enjoyable as it can possibly be. Because if you don't have enough good quarterbacks, then you've got major issues. This is why my argument is everybody talks about CTE. I don't think CTE is going to impact people in the all the positions, right? I think there's always going to be fat kids to play on the offensive and defensive lines. Where else are they going to play? I think there's always going to be corners, linebackers, running backs, wide receivers. I think where football could potentially lose out is at the quarterback position. Because quarterbacks tend to be guys from two-parent households who would go to college more often than not, even if they weren't good at sports. They'd just play another sport. They'd be baseball players. They'd be lacrosse players. They'd be soccer players. Maybe they'd be basketball players. They'd play something less dangerous. And so as a result, I think it's an excellent question to ask when you think about the overall future of the NFL. Don't think about the NFL as impacting CTE, as impacting every position equally. Think about the overall impact of CTE on the quarterback position, because those are the guys that are going to be the first to drop out of football and play other sports. And if you take away a quarterback who's really good from a game, you make that game unwatchable. I'm going to block this guy because he's making a lot of comments, but they're never any good. And if I see you and like you're obsessively commenting and you're consistently not making any good comments, then I don't want to see you anymore. All right? Commenting is a privilege, not a right. So Mayfield Mania is ongoing, and it has been phenomenal from the get-go. All right? I'm impressed. Congratulations to the Browns fans. After whatever it is, 635 games, I happened to look over there, and I got to give credit to the Browns. I don't know if you guys saw this quote, but I think it's significant. My book is coming out. My book is out now. A lot of you are getting it at your place, okay? They're starting to arrive at your house. And I don't think it's a coincidence that Bob Iger decided, the CEO of Disney, to finally weigh in on ESPN being hyper-political. He said this in a Hollywood Reporter article. Did you guys see this? I thought this was an intriguing storyline here. Question from the Hollywood Reporter. You've had shakeups at the various businesses this past year. How has ESPN changed specifically, if at all? This is Bob Iger, CEO of Disney, responding. I have nothing but praise for the job Jimmy Pitaro has done at ESPN. There's been a big debate about whether ESPN should be focused more on what happens on the field of sport than what happens in terms of where sports is societally or politically. And Jimmy felt that the pendulum may have swung a little bit too far away from the field. And I happen to believe he was right. And it's something, by the way, that I think John Skipper had come to recognize as well. But Jimmy coming in fresh has had the ability to address it, I think, far more aggressively and effectively. He has brought back some balance. Now, it's still not full balance. ESPN doesn't have a single employee who has announced that they publicly voted for Donald Trump. Not one person on the air, despite the fact that half the country did it. But I do think that the overall impact of ratings declines, of collapsing brand equity, and of, frankly, the soon-to-be bestsellerdom of my book, which makes a strong argument that Michael Jordan and Tiger Woods were correct in the arguments that they made about sports and politics needing to be separate spheres of the arena. It's also interesting that Bob Iger has now, you need to pay attention to stories like these, because Bob Iger has now publicly said what I have been arguing for at least a year, if not a year and a half, that ESPN has a political slant and that they treat people unfairly based on their politics. And the reason why I think this is significant is because my critics in the sports media, and they are legion, none of them are as successful as me or have as substantial of an audience as me or have as many different platforms as I do now. But my critics love to snipe away. And what they have been saying for over a year about me is that I'm making this up, that there's no truth to it. You could see this happen over and over and over again. It was the underlying premise of a Politico article. It was the underlying premise of a New Republic article. What you are seeing here is the CEO of Disney, the head of ESPN, now saying, oh, guess what? We've gone too political in the realm of sports, and we've gone too far left wing. So now everybody out there is starting to recognize what I've been saying for over a year. And I don't think it's coincidental that my book is coming out and that the book has been circulating in media spheres for so long now, for like a month, that media people have been able to read it. I'm starting to get regular DMs and text messages from friends in media who have seen the book, who have read it, and who have liked it. And so I think what's happening is they're recognizing that what I'm saying is true. And obviously, I don't know what more could happen other than the CEO of Disney himself saying that. So I asked Bob Iger to be interviewed for the book. No interest in it, and from his perspective. But I do think it's interesting that he is endorsing the thesis of one of the theses of my book as it is released. I don't think this is coincidental that he's making these comments right as the book is about to be released and right as the book is about to climb a lot of bestseller lists. And I would ask you guys again, please go buy my book, Republicans Buy Sneakers Too. It'll be in every bookstore in America next week. They are shipping today on Amazon. You can get it by Saturday. You can get it by Monday. You can get it by Tuesday. But pay attention to that story. See how much attention it receives from the media in general. All right. All of that has happened. It's now time for me to make all of you rich. I gave you the Friday college football parlay. A lot of you are going to be like me. It's Friday night soon, and you got kids, and you're going to be in your house by yourself, living a wild life, sitting back with a beer, and you're going to be watching all the college football games going on Friday night. So I've got a 3-game Friday parlay party. All of us are going to be sitting around, drinking beer, kicking our feet up, staying up late, watching games on Friday. All right? Here we go. Threesome. Hottie threesome, as my friend Kelly in Vegas likes to say when she gives out a 3-game parlay. Number 1, the over in FAU Central Florida. Number 2, you don't go into Champaign, Illinois and win by 35. You don't go into Champaign, Illinois and win by 28. You go into Champaign, Illinois and win by 27 or less, and we cover Illinois against Penn State. And then a late night capstone on the threesome on the Friday night parlay party. Washington State plus 4.5 on the road against USC. All of those are going to hit. That's my Friday night parlay. All right, are you ready for Saturday? I told you, tap the veins. My blood bank guarantee this week was Tennessee against Florida. Amazingly, the Tennessee-Florida game has already come down 4 points. It opened at 49. It's now right at 45. You've got a 4-point window there that you took advantage of if you listened to me. All right? Here is my 4-game SEC parlay. Are you ready? Vanderbilt, South Carolina, the under 54.5. South Carolina traveling to Vanderbilt. Will Muschamp, Derek Mason, the under 54.5 is going to hit. Auburn, minus 29 against Arkansas. The Razorbacks are walking into an absolute bloodbath here, okay? Couple of more games that I think are going to happen in my SEC parlay. I'm still saying Florida, Tennessee, even at 45.5, even at 45, Still tap the vein. Join them as well. And my final pick in the SEC parlay that I'm giving out right now for all of you, I'm going to have to look it up because I just emailed it in, and I want to make sure that I get all these numbers right. All right? So a little bit of drama, a little bit of suspense, a little bit of excitement. I'm going to give these picks out on the show here coming up in a little bit, but I'm giving you this a little bit early. Again, my Friday Part A parlay, FAU at UCF, PSU at Penn State at Illinois, Washington State at USC. My SEC parlay, Georgia Mizzou over 64.5. Auburn minus 29 versus Arkansas. Just had to block a man. USC Vandy, the under 54, and Vols Gators, the under 45. All right? Santa Clay gives you a 4-game SEC parlay and a 3-gamer tonight for college football. All right, I love all of you. I got to go get ready for my television show. Please go buy my book. My name is Clay Travis. The book is called Republicans Buy Sneakers Too. I hope all of you enjoy getting rich tonight off of the 3-game Friday parlay party. Find me on Twitter at Clay Travis. Santa Clay, here we go. I love all of you. Hit the veins, SEC parlay and the Friday party parlay. I love all of you. Kisses, DBAP, but sometimes it's important also to remember SBAP. I'll see you on television in about an hour, a little bit less. See ya. Lock it in. FS1 now. See y'all.